Carnitas, baby, they rock. Hi everyone, I am beyond excited to share with you our Michoacan style carnitas recipe made in a copper cazo. Our last trip left us inspired and eager to recreate those flavors we fell in love with. We even brought back our own cazo. But don't worry, you can use a large stainless steel or cast iron pot. It will work just fine. Now, we have to make this recipe with love. Carnitas have to be made with intention. It is a simple recipe with a delicious outcome that really does take me back home. The beauty about carnitas is you can literally use the entire pork, but I prefer to use cuts that I typically love and enjoy, and for me that's going to be pork ribs and a good marbling on that pork shoulder roast. Now keep in mind we are going to be cooking this for a long time, so we have to cut them into large pieces that will fit the pot where you're cooking them. But first I'm gonna pat it dry to remove some of that excess moisture. When it comes to the ribs, I like to cut them into 3 to 4 rib segments. I think for a lot of people, ribs are a must. They just become so tender, so flavorful, perfect for carnitas. Now take that boneless pork shoulder, pat it dry, and then cut them into large pieces as close in size as possible to those ribs. Before we head outside, we have to do some prep, and I'm starting with a whole white onion. I'm just gonna cut it in half. Slice the end off of an entire head of garlic so we can expose those garlic cloves. Let's make a sachet. It is essentially a small pouch that's gonna hold all of the aromatics so that we can remove it from the pot easily after they've imparted all of their flavor. I'm gonna be using a piece of cheesecloth. To the center, add 1 tablespoon of dry Mexican oregano, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, 6 cloves, 1 tablespoon of dry thyme, and 3 bay leaves. I'm gonna tie it up with a string of kitchen twine and just make sure it is well enclosed. And that's it, let's head outside. We're gonna start by melting 4 pounds of lard over medium heat, and I'm gonna let it reach 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's check. Lard is ready. I'm gonna start by browning the meat. Oh yeah. And I'm gonna do it in batches to prevent overcrowding. I am starting with those ribs. Keep an eye on it. Occasionally move it around so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. And it's also gonna help you achieve an even color all around. These are looking pretty good. Each batch takes about 30 minutes to brown, but it's completely worth it because it's gonna give you that really nice brown color carnitas are known for. These are looking fabulous, ready to come out. And I just want you to see that gorgeous golden brown color. It is so nice. And let's just continue with the remainder. My second batch is almost done. I'm gonna dissolve 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of kosher salt in 3 cups of hot water. I lower the heat to medium-low. I'm just gonna add all of that pork back into the cazo. It's looking marvelous and it smells incredible, I'm telling you. It just makes your mouth water. The climate right now is delicious.
95 degrees.
95, yep. Add the onion, garlic, those aromatics, and just make sure they're well submerged. And now pour in that salted water. We're gonna leave this alone, allow it to cook on a gentle simmer, adjust that heat as needed for about 45 minutes or until that meat starts to tenderize. Soak 3/4 pound of cueritos or pork skin in a large bowl with salted water, making sure they're completely submerged. I used about a tablespoon of kosher salt. You can dissolve the salt first, but we are rolling with it. Then let it soak for 30 minutes to soften and clean the skin further. Once the carnitas have started to soften, remove the pork skin from the water and gently pat it dry. Then carefully lay it over the carnitas, ensuring it's fully submerged in the fat. Note that if the skin is on the thicker side, you may need to add it sooner as it will require more time to cook and soften. Ideally, the skin needs to be added 30 to 45 minutes before you know the meat will be ready. Keep the cazo at a gentle simmer and just let it do its thing. When both the cueritos and carnitas are tender and cooked through, carefully take them out, especially that pork shoulder, but even those ribs are full of the bone tender. Transfer everything to a sheet pan with a rack and let the excess fat drip off. If you can't find cueritos or prefer to skip them, no worries. Just omit the skin part and continue cooking the carnitas until they're tender and fully cooked, absorbing all of the flavors from the aromatics, onion, garlic, and salt solution. Check out how effortlessly those bones come off. The cooking process has made the meat so tender that the bones just slide right out. We're back inside and I did let that meat rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now I'm just dicing that cuerito and it's so good. I would say chop the meat up, but look at this. There is no need. You can shred it by hand, but look at that, a beauty. It's still hot, believe it or not. So you know what? Yep, let's run the knife in there. Those pieces of fat just make it even more appealing. You might be thinking, what are you guys going to do with all of that meat? But you can store it in the fridge, make some gorditas, tostadas. We're gonna make pupusas, guys. My mother-in-law is gonna help me out with that. So definitely you can have even more than one meal with carnitas. That's exciting. To me it is. You know what's more exciting? Let's make some tacos. We survived the weather today, 97. Yeah. It was hot outside. We're making tacos, my friends. You need to have your chopped cilantro, chopped onion ready to go. And I actually made some fresh homemade corn tortillas. What a treat. Oh, I gotta have cueritos. If you haven't watched last video when we visited Quiroga, which is the carnitas capital of the world, you have to watch it. It's a vlog that we did when we traveled to Mexico. We're gonna do cilantro, onion, lime juice, classic taco. I'm gonna leave the link to the salsa and also these tortillas down in the description area so you can check it out.
All right, let's go.
These are so good, you guys. It's worth making a big batch. It's just Nelson and I here at home, but I'm gonna freeze these. I'm gonna put it on everything. It's so good.
It's so soft, it melts in your mouth. Wow. Freshly made corn tortillas, it's a plus.
Nelson, can we talk about those cueritos, the pork skin?
Yeah, the cueritos are a must.
And I'll tell you why. When I was little, my grandfather used to make carnitas. And the first thing everybody would dig into was the cueritos with a side of pickled jalapenos. A little bit of lime juice in there and oh my.
This taco went by fast. It really reminds me of those awesome tacos we had in Quiroga. This is good. This is so good. All right, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And you can find the recipe
on Cocina.com. Bye, everyone.
Keep on eating tacos.
Woo! Carnitas, baby. They rock.
Yes.